Welcome back to Talk of the Town on 99.7, 1450 WHTC and WHTC.com.
And we welcome you back to Talk of the Town for this Wednesday, July 14th. The notice sent out by the Coast Guard, the U.S. Coast Guard, on June the 9th, 2021. Consolidation of redundant Coast Guard boat stations. And they are asking for public comments on the planned consolidation of redundant Coast Guard boat stations. Based on the document, many stations were established at a time when boats lacked engines and were powered by oars and paddles. With modern boat operating speeds and improved direction finding technology, many calls for Coast Guard assistance can be responded to by multiple units significantly faster than when these boat stations were first established. That is the beginning part of the statement that is on the published document, and public comment is being accepted through the federalregister.gov website. To talk a little bit more about this consolidation and a little bit about maybe the changing role of the Coast Guard in the 21st century, it is Coast Guard Chief Petty Officer George Degener. He is with the Coast Guard's regional station in Cleveland, joining us via the Zoom connection. CPO Degener, good morning and welcome to WHTC.
Good morning, Gary. It's great to be with you this morning.
Glad you are with us to talk a little bit about not just this closing, which has the concern in our particular neck of the woods of the Holland station for fiscal 2022, which in practical purposes would close the station after Labor Day weekend. But there are, I believe, 4 stations that are designated right now for this upcoming year and others coming around. I sort of prefaced our conversation, George, with the initial statement in the notice by the Coast Guard, but to a certain extent, can I dare say this was something that maybe was overdue, that needed to be consolidated?
Well, the Coast Guard is always going to look at, what is the best laydown for our forces? What is the best allocation of resources to continue to provide the service that we do to the public? I mean, we do have a rich history of operating not just around the country, particularly though in Holland and the Grand Haven area. The Life Saving Service established the first station in Grand Haven in 1877, and then the Holland station shortly thereafter. And I think it was right in 1885. And those stations are still in the same location they were, as you said, when surfmen were taking to the lake in rowboats vice the modern technology that we have nowadays. Part of what
when I brought this subject up with our listeners about a week or so ago, there was obviously concerns because people associate the Coast Guard as, they're elite in terms of handling rescue operations. We want to make sure that everybody is safe. And I said, hey, wait a minute. Yes, the Coast Guard is good and we all love it, but the local authorities, be it the Ottawa County, Allegan County Sheriff's Departments, as well as the Michigan State Police in our area, they do a pretty good job as well. And yes, it would be nice to have the Coast Guard around, but we got enough of the local stuff that would be able to respond as well. So to a certain extent, I said, yeah, it might sting a little bit that we don't have our own Coast Guard post, but yet I can certainly understand a little bit about some of the reasonings behind this consolidation.
If it were up to me, I am a recreational boater myself. And if it were up to me, we'd have a Coast Guard station in every community with a yacht club or a marina around the country. Unfortunately, that's not the reality. But as you said, the reality is we do have some fantastic partner agencies that are able to work alongside us to help people when they're in trouble and to, in many cases, get there even faster than we do. They have a lot of local knowledge, just as much, if not more, than our crews. We do train together. We use a lot of the same communications technology. So we are seeing that our partner agencies are there right alongside us when we do go out to help those that are in trouble on the water.
Now, a couple of things I want to bring up with you, CPO Degener, and I want to sort of drill down a little bit further and get away from the surface. Oh, Holland's losing its station. And talk a little bit about maybe the role of the Coast Guard. How much or how has it changed? And maybe, I don't know whether or not you personally can address this, but has the role of the Coast Guard really changed over the last, I want to say 20 years or so? And of course, we're coming up to the 20-year anniversary of 9/11, and that sort of changed a lot of perceptions about our security. But what is the role now of the Coast Guard in 2021? And really, what should we as the general public expect the Coast Guard to do now?
Well, the public, specifically the boating public, can always expect the Coast Guard to respond when they're in trouble. That role hasn't changed. That role has been in place since the days of the life-saving service was founded, and we'll always be ready to do that. We do have expanded responsibilities with our port, waterways, and coastal security missions, environmental protection, and across the 11 statutory missions the Coast Guard has. We are the world's greatest search and rescue agency. I fully believe that, and I know that to be true. However, we have seen, even within the boating public, they are far more safety conscious now than they've ever been. You have individuals who are wearing their life jackets all the time. They have more reliable communication methods like VHF radios, more so than just a cell phone. They have personal locator beacons that will alert us when there's a catastrophe. And that does make our job in some ways easier. And it also makes it easier for those partner agencies to help us and respond in just as fast a manner as we can sometimes. So with our additional responsibilities, we still focus on search and rescue, but we are working closely with those agencies to make sure that the boating public is as protected as it can be. And that is heavily relied upon as well by those individuals who take that personal responsibility. And we can't stress that enough.
Let me follow one more thing on recovery and the rescue operations. Then I want to sort of go a little bit different direction on this. But in these, when there is a recovery situation and we want to, enforce, a rescue operation, because sometimes when they say, well, it's a rescue and recovery operation, well, rescue means we have hope that we can find people alive. Recovery, we got to get some bodies out of there. So what role does the Coast Guard do in a rescue/recovery situation? Is it still a lead, or do the Coast Guard come in at the request of, say, the local agencies?
As soon as we're notified of someone in trouble on the water, we're going to send out, every available asset that we can, or every available helicopter, every available boat, anyone that we can put on the water to try to save someone in trouble, we're going to do that. We do that alongside those partner agencies. And the faster that we can find someone, more so the more proactive people are with regards to their safety, like wearing life jackets and having the right safety gear and getting their vessel inspected for free by the auxiliary, is what's going to make it easier and more likely that we're going to be able to help those people when they are in trouble.
Now, let me side away from the rescue/recovery situation to more of the security aspects, CPO Degener, of the Coast Guard. I know, we're talking about 100 years ago when prohibition was the law of the land, and the runners, the liquor runners in the Great Lakes, especially because Canada wasn't in prohibition, the U.S. was, and they had the Purple Gang in Detroit, and of course we all know about Chicago and the running. The Great Lakes was definitely a place where they'd sneak in and get their alcohol in. How much of a concern is it now about maintaining security, especially in the Great Lakes, in 2021? Is it still the same? Is it maybe a little bit different nowadays in trying to make sure that the waterways are not only safe from incidents, but safe from maybe people who want to do things that are not lawful?
The Great Lakes are unique in that we do have roughly 1,700 miles of international border with Canada, and we do work closely with Canadians to address any of those security concerns. The Coast Guard since 1790 has had a law enforcement mission since the founding of the Revenue Cutter Service. And it's something that we are proud of. We work diligently toward, and we do make sure and do our best to keep the people of the Great Lakes safe. This is one of our primary concerns, along with search and rescue, that we are enforcing laws and treaties, bilateral agreements we have with the Canadians. And we're unique in the Great Lakes in many ways because we do have such a close relationship with Canada in operations like Shiprider, where we can put our law enforcement professionals aboard Canadian boats and vice versa to make sure that we're doing the most we can to keep the people safe.
Yeah, it is a little different nowadays, and the concerns about homeland security are definitely warranted. Coast Guard CPO George Degener. In this community, and getting back to the original point of our conversation, in this community, obviously, people don't like it when a thing that they've come to rely on is not going to be there anymore. How would the Coast Guard assure boaters and those who are in the waters around Holland State Park, Lake Makatawa, and Lake Michigan in our area that the closing of the Holland station is not going to adversely affect water safety in our area?
This wouldn't be a decision that would be made if it was felt it would put boaters at risk. In many ways, the closure of the facility in Holland is able to allow our crew from Grand Haven, which staffs it on the weekends, to stay in Grand Haven, train more, not have to spend more time away from the rest of their crews, to make sure that they're all training together, working together, being the best that they can be. And because of the close relationships we have with those local partner agencies who are able to be on scene in many cases even faster than the crews that are in Holland now, we are confident that the closure of the station is going to allow us to keep protecting the people of the Holland area as best we can and still provide the same level of service. I understand the closure is definitely something that people have strong feelings about. And if they have those feelings, and we want to hear from them. So I can't encourage people enough to respond to that notice in the Federal Register, send us their comments so we can read those, we can take those into account, and continue to have such a great relationship with the people and the boating public in the Holland area.
And that is one thing that we have mentioned, is the fact that we will put a link to that comment page at federalregister.gov when we put the podcast of our conversation on our webpage at WHTC.com in a few minutes. CPO George Degener, is the decision pretty much set in stone about closing the Holland station, or has the final decision not yet been made?
That final decision is going to be made toward the end of the fiscal year. At this point, we are still soliciting those public comments. We are hoping that if that decision does come to fruition, we are able to divest that property. Ideally, it remains part of the local community, and the Coast Guard isn't going anywhere. We're still going to be on the water in the area to make sure people are safe.
I want to just double back and just want to say, we're talking about this as if it was a done deal, and it's not a done deal yet.
The final decision is being made at this time. The projected plan right now is for the station in Holland to close at the end of the fiscal year.
Okay, I want to emphasize that point, is that we're not talking about, I think you understand the analogy of, well, we're not talking about David here in the past tense. He isn't dead yet. We're already giving away his eulogy. No, we're not doing that yet.
No, and those personnel that work in Holland are still going to be in the area on the water, just based in Grand Haven, as they are 75% of the week, vice just the weekends when they're in Holland. They're still going to be on the water. They're still going to be doing their best to make sure that the boaters in the Holland area are safe, and we're able to help them as much as we can.
He is Coast Guard CPO George Degener. He is in the regional office for the Coast Guard in Cleveland. And again, I will direct our listeners to, again, we'll put the link up. Again, after the top of the hour, we'll put the link up, not only for the comment, but you can also find the exact wording of the decision and rationale for it, and comment it. Again, federalregister.gov is the initial website, and we'll put a link to the, so that our listeners can go directly to that page dealing with consolidation of redundant Coast Guard boat stations, which probably will include the Holland Coast Guard Station. CPO George Degener, want to thank you very much for joining us today on WHTC's Talk of the Town. Hope to chat with you again at a future time, talking about water safety, boat safety, and the role of the Coast Guard. Thank you for your time, sir, very much.
Absolutely, Gary. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you very much, George Degener on 99.7 and 1450 WHTC.